Hi, Simon Young from DuncanFitnessCenter.com, and I'm here with Lisa. And we're going to show you Lean Eating Phase 11, Workout B. It's into 3 exercises put together, then there's a little rest, and then there's 3 exercises put together. So the first 3, deadlift, chest press, and then a half kneeling hold. So on the deadlift, you're going to need your heaviest band. Lisa's going to use the lighter band just so we can really make sure the form's good. She's going to put her wrists into the band and then grab it so she doesn't have to worry about her grip. Good. Shoulder blades are pulled together. Top position, we want to get these shoulder blades pulled together, glutes squeezed, legs locked out, chin on the chest. Then we start by pushing the hips back, totally straightening the arms in the bottom position, keeping the mid-upper back nice and tight, driving through the heels, squeezing the bum. Good. Sit down and back, load those hamstrings, drive through, squeeze those shoulder blades. Sit down and back, and then drive through. It's a deadlift. There's a pause at the bottom. You'll notice as when Lisa stands, she tucks her chin on her chest, which lets her pull her shoulder blades together and squeeze those glutes. Thank you, Lisa. Perfect. Now, we're going to add in a little progression. In the bottom position, Lisa's going to add a row. Control it back, then do the deadlift. In the row, she's squeezing those shoulder blades down and back, and then add the deadlift. Thank you, Lisa. Beautiful. So next up, we're going to do chest press. Now, in the chest press, Lisa's got a slight variation. She's put a knot into her band. Remember, when you knot your bands, when you finish the workout, unknot them. So she's got a slight knot in the band. That adds some tension onto that band. So we're going to show progressions. The first one she's going to do, she's going to take a nice hip width or slightly wider stance, keeping her hips and shoulders square, so there's not going to be any twisting. Lisa's first of all going to punch it out and pull it back. Just punch it out and pull it back. The more she punches out, the speed she adds on the punch, the more her core has to dynamically react so she doesn't turn those hips and turn the shoulders. Thank you, Lisa. Next, Lisa's going to squat, and then at the top of the squat, she's going to add a punch. So she's going to squat down, she's going to stand up, punch, lock it out. Good. Sit down and back into a good squat, up and punch, lock it out. Really nice, Lisa. If we want to progress that further, Lisa's going to see how fast she can squat and stand and lock it out. And lock it out. We're going to exhale in that top position and really drive it out strong. Thank you, Lisa. Beautiful. So that's the chest press, adding more dynamic core work, the squat and the punch. Final one in this group of 3. We aren't going to do a side plank because it messes people's shoulders up. We end up with all sorts of problems. We're going to do a half kneeling pull-off hold. So a half kneeling pull-off hold. Staggered stance or half kneeling. Hips want to be nice and square. We have the leg closest to the attachment point, the knee is on the floor. The other leg is out to the side. Okay, so in this position, Lisa's going to squeeze her glute on her right leg. She's going to squeeze the glute on the left leg. She's going to keep her hips nice and square and punch this band straight out in front. She's going to make sure she's not shrugging. She'll feel how the band's trying to pull her that way, but using her core, she's stabilizing to make sure that she doesn't turn. She's also keeping nice and tall, keep correcting all the time. Tall through the crown of the head, no shrugging, squeeze the glutes, hips are square. Keep running that little mantra through. You'll feel the vibration point. It's fun, isn't it?
It's great. You're going to leave me here forever, aren't you?
I'm going to leave you there for a long, long time. When you finish, pull the band back into your chest and come out of it. Do the same thing on the other side. Nice. Okay, so that's our first 3. Next, we're going to look at a single leg deadlift. Now, we're on grass. It's really unstable. Lisa's runners are a barefoot style runner, so she's not got the stabilizing aspect that you get in lots of runners. So when we do this deadlift, Lisa's actually going to reach towards the tree. It gives her a focal point. She's going to load her hip, push the hip back, reach towards the tree. See how she extends that back leg? Then she pulls through this hip to stand. Like she has a piece of string running from her heel to her bum. She pulls that string taut and comes up to standing. Lisa can tap her toe on the floor of the other leg if she needs to help her stabilize. She's keeping those hips nice and square. She'll feel that hips loads, and she stands on up. Thank you, Lisa. That's beautiful. Now, if we want to progress that further, there's a couple of things we can do. The first thing we can do, we can move away from the tree, load up that hip, we stabilize, and we pull through and stand, and this leg does not touch the floor. We're going to keep that hip loaded all the while. The next progression, you take a band, you stand on the band, and you put your wrists into it. That means you've got to really work hard as you stand up to squeeze those glutes. Slight bend in the knee. When you're over, there's not a lot of work. But when you stand, you've got to really squeeze those glutes to finish the movement. So that is the single leg deadlift. Next, we're going to go with a pull apart. Lisa's going to get her red band. I've got the black band. We're going to stand inside the band like a giant hula hoop, and then lift it on up. Okay. Try to put the band over your palm and over the heel of the hand. A lot of pressing and pulling comes from that heel of that hand. Good. No shrugging. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stagger our stance, hips nice and square, chest is tall, and Lisa's going to pull the band apart, really feeling the squeeze in her mid-upper back. Nice. Looks good, Lisa. If all feels good, as she does the pull apart, she goes straight into a split squat, pulling the knee down and back, coming out to the top position. Good. Not letting the knee go past the toe on the front leg. Good work, Lisa. That's nice. Last one. I know. Trainer. Sneaky. You always get an extra rep in. Okay, so that was with a single band length. Not enough stimulation for the upper back. Double band length. Take that nice double band, hold it so you're just like on the ends. Staggered stance again. Pull it apart. Drive on up.
1.
Oh, we've been count now.
1.
Oh, 1 again. Thanks very much.
I'm just counting like Simon does. 2.
If that still wasn't enough, put those hands even closer together to about 12 inches apart. That's really going to test your strength.
1.
Oh, I did 1. That was good.
2.
Nice. Okay, so that's the pull apart with a split stance. Final one is we're going to go with a single leg deadlift, body weight. On the single leg deadlift with the body weight, there's a couple of little tips for this. The first one is if you have something like that you could reach for, like a cone or a low tree stump or a very small child or a dog or something like that, you can reach for it. You try to push your hip back and sit down, loading your glute. So Lisa's going to imagine we've got Charlie. She's sitting down and back, loading that leg, scratching Charlie, and then standing on up. So it's a different variation of a deadlift. She's keeping her lower back nice and flat and standing up strong. Because of the grass that we're on, there's a lot of instability in that. From there, we can add a reach. So this is like the split squat and the punch, or the pulse. So we're going to go into our position. So it's really uneven at this point. I'm going to sit down and back. In my bottom position, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to pull back in. Then I'm going to stand. Stabilizing muscles are working like crazy in the legs. Trying to keep my back nice and flat, keep my hip loaded, and then stand on up.
It's always really gratifying when the trainer's struggling as well.
It's nice, isn't it? So that is workout B for phase 11.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. On that last one, just go nice and steady. You're working on the form. It might be an alien movement to you. Listen to the knee, okay? The knee's going to predict how far down and back you can go. And that's it.
Have fun, ladies.